What's the nastiest thing you've done for revenge? I pulled this on my husband, soon-to-be ex. We had been married for 15 long, tumultuous years. I had just given birth to our second child, a beautiful baby girl named Sarah. I knew from the very start that he wasn't happy about our first child, our precocious son Michael, who was now 5, and he let it be known early on in no uncertain terms that he didn't want a second child. Everything was fine in our marriage until we had kids, then he started doing his own thing and treating me horribly. He would stay out late drinking with his rowdy friends, not come home some nights, and worst of all, he started having multiple affairs with younger women. I was sick with worry all the time, trying to work part-time, take care of the home and our 2 young children alone while he was out gallivanting. One sunny Tuesday morning, I got a strange call from a man named John who told me that he had hired a top-notch private investigator to follow his wife Amanda, and that the investigator uncovered definitive proof that Amanda was having a passionate affair with my no-good husband. John shared some of the damning evidence with me over the phone, and it did indeed fit: dates, locations, detailed accounts of their trysts together. I believed him completely. After a long, revealing talk, John said that despite the affair, he still loved his wife Amanda deeply and wanted to save his marriage. He asked me if there was anything at all he could do to break up the illicit affair and get my worthless husband to stop seeing his wife for good. I told John bluntly, simple. My soon-to-be ex-husband is a big coward. You just need to call him directly and strongly threaten him to scare him away from ever contacting your wife Amanda again. John replied in a stern tone, "Oh, believe me, I can do a lot better than just an empty phone call threat." You see, John was a big-time building contractor who employed some very large, intimidating and rough-looking construction workers. So late that very same night, John assembled 5 of his biggest, most muscular and menacing crew members and loaded them up in his black pickup truck. He had them stake out O'Reilly's bar where my pathetic husband hung out every Tuesday and Thursday night to booze and ogle women after work. Around 8 p.m. when my scumbag husband drunkenly emerged from the bar, John's burly crew surrounded him, slammed him up against the brick wall and told him if he ever so much as looked at John's wife Amanda again, he'd sorely regret it. They emphasized their point by landing a few forceful punches to his gut before letting him flee to his car, where he raced home, arriving around 9 p.m., the earliest he'd been home since our infant daughter was born. When he got home, he was visibly shaken to the core and frightened out of his wits. He frantically pleaded with me to keep all the doors and windows shut and locked that night, and to close the blinds. He kept saying we needed to hide and keep quiet so they wouldn't find us. The next morning when he woke up, I had spitefully pulled his precious sports car out of the garage and left it sitting in the driveway with the keys resting on the front seat. I told him I did it just so our 5-year-old son Michael could ride his tricycle around it. This really made my husband fly into a panic. He demanded I keep the phone off the hook and unplugged, but somehow it got reconnected and rang loudly around noon. He jumped and yelped in fright, thinking it was John's men calling to threaten him again. I actually got my older sister Jen to call a few more times that day and hang up after just one ring to maintain my husband's paranoia. Later that week, the contractor John called me to sincerely thank me for the creative idea on how to scare my husband away from his wife for good. He asked if there was anything else he could do to help me deal with my cheating, abandoning husband. I had one small favor to ask of him. He said it would be his absolute pleasure to assist me in any way he could. When we eventually went to divorce court a month later, my sharp attorney presented all of the damning evidence of the affair collected by John's top private investigator. My deceitful soon-to-be ex-husband sat there in the courtroom in utter shock with his mouth hanging open stupidly, as he had no idea this was coming. His slick lawyer tried to object on grounds of inadmissibility, but the judge wasn't having it. The damage was done. My husband's face turned white as a ghost when the judge stated we had established irrefutable grounds for divorce due to my husband's reprehensible infidelity. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. After that satisfying divorce court hearing, I got the house, full custody of our kids, and a very generous financial settlement. John also got his wife Amanda to come to her senses, end things permanently with my dirtbag ex-husband, and stay in their marriage. I couldn't have planned or hoped for a better outcome after all I had suffered through with my lying, cheating ex. He got exactly what he deserved for what he did to me and our family. Justice was sweetly served.